I would like to now call up Health Commissioner Dr. Sharif Al-Nahar. I would like to call up the Mayor of South Brunswick instead, Mayor Charlie Carley.
Thank you very much for your kind invitation to join the members of ISCJ to reflect upon the terrible events of New Zealand last week. It seems to me that we all endure too many tragedies like this, and it is important, as the young people said before, to reflect upon the people we lose. There's a real loss to each of us across the world when we see our fathers, mothers, brothers, and sisters go in such a terrible way. It's also important to reflect upon our community, and that's what we're all here for, to be together, to reflect our unity, and to have a common understanding that together we're stronger than any one of the groups that we have in this town. So let's keep going in that vein. Let's always remember to be together. Life's hard enough without hatred. And let's not indulge in hatred. Let's indulge in mutual understanding, and not to sound like a religious man, but even love for each other. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, now I would like to call up Dr. Sharif, the Health Commissioner of New Jersey.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I want to first thank the organizers of this event from ISCJ and Azra, who actually works with us in the Department of Health. The governor sends his best, sends his deep condolences to the community. He's been vocal about how horrible this attack was in New Zealand, how it was an act of hate, an act of terrorism against our community, our global community. And as a reflection of what we're all feeling here in New Jersey as a Muslim community and a community at large, including our partners and friends in faith, law enforcement, and in political leadership, and all levels of leadership in the state. We all feel unified and together in this time. I'm sure the night's going to be filled with stories of the victims. I'll bring a story to light that really hit home with me. There was a grandfather, Dawood Nabi, who was one of the first people identified as a victim in this attack. The terrorists tried to come into the mosque, and just as this man did with everybody who came in, he welcomed him with open arms. He stuck out his hand and said, "Come in, my brother." And at that point, the terrorists proceeded to shoot people in the mosque. And the way he passed away was getting in the way of a bullet that was meant for somebody else. This was a man who was 71, the grandfather. And when I read this story, when I read the stories of the other victims, it reminded me of my dad. Parents there, I have 2 young kids, parents of 3, 4 children were there, passed away, chased the terrorist out of the mosque and into his vehicle was a father of 4 named Abdul. And that story really resonated with me because had he not done that, while everybody else was running for cover, he ran toward the perpetrator until he left. There could have been even more people killed in that mosque. So this is a community that we feel, I personally feel connected to, because when I read these stories, members of our community in New Zealand, I feel like I'm talking about and I'm seeing members of my own community. And we have, I think, an obligation to learn from this, not only to mourn, but to think about ways that we can make our communities safer, and think about ways that we can work with the broader community here in New Jersey to mourn this act of hate. And that includes being in solidarity when other groups are attacked. Our community came together after the really tragic Pittsburgh synagogue attack just less than a year ago. And we stood up for the Jewish community. The Jewish community is standing up for us now, as are other faith groups and our other partners in the state, including law enforcement and members of the government at all levels. So I just want to express my deep solitude with all of you for what happened in New Zealand. I know that we can tend to feel scared in these situations, and that's a natural reaction to have. But I can tell you that from my vantage point in the state, I've spoken with the Attorney General about this, I've spoken with the Governor about this. It is something that we're all thinking about, how to make our communities safer and how to protect us better. And we will work with all of you to do that. So, Assalamu alaikum, and thank you for the opportunity.
Can I please call out Princeton Mayor Liz Umford?
Thank you to you for organizing, and thank you for the invitation to be with you here tonight. On behalf of the Princeton community, I want to let you know that we join with you in the heartache and sadness and anger after the horrific massacre at the mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand last week. The violence happened half a world away, but it hits close to home. A toxic brew of guns and bigotry fueled by hate-filled rhetoric and the irrational fear of the other. We must strive to emerge from our collective grief and horror, having formed tighter bonds of solidarity across race, religion, and country, and a commitment to peace. To our Islamic friends, we especially stand in solidarity with you in the aftermath of this terrorist attack. We cannot and will not tolerate white supremacy or Islamophobia. Each of us deserves freedom, freedom of religion, respect, dignity, and safety. Tonight, we join together to reaffirm to one another that love, compassion, and solidarity are powerful forces. And with love, compassion, and solidarity, we are capable of overcoming hatred and bigotry. Thank you.
I'd like to call up South Brunswick Superintendent Scott Feeder.
I don't know how many times that I have to stand up here, or that you have to stand up here, that we have to do this in a church, in a temple, in a mosque, in my district, to have the same story time and time again. Last year, we sat in the district and we walked with Parkland, right, from Florida. 17 kids shot and killed. In October, I was 8 minutes away from Squirrel Hill, Pittsburgh with my daughter at college when that happened. I didn't know one person in either of those circumstances, and I don't know one of the 51 people in New Zealand. Chances are, most of you don't know any one of those people either. And yet we're sitting here, and this is not all Muslim today. We have all faiths, all races, all ethnicities. And does it keep having to be people die for us to do this? So, I have the honor of being able to influence 9,000 students a year. That's what we have in ours. So the best I can tell you is we have to work on making people feel and know they belong. If people belong and they believe that others care for them, maybe this will stop. I don't know, sitting there listening, I wasn't planning on getting emotional. I don't usually get emotional when I talk. And then listening to the eloquent speeches. And then I sit there and think, really, who am I to be speaking to this group? But I do get to influence 9,000 students. And if I can do that, and if each of us can do that in our own rights, maybe in 20, 30 years, maybe tomorrow we'll stop having to meet like this. And the imam will invite us over, as he does, so open. It's the warmest place, I can tell you, this is the warmest place. And maybe it'll just be different. That's what I hope. Thank you.
I'd like to recognize all the police officers here tonight and call up, or actually we'd like to call up all the police officers from Highland and also from South Brunswick, and Chief of Police Haydaka from South Brunswick, as well as Chief of Police Barry. May I ask the fire marshals to come up, please, as well? We stand up.
Good evening. Certainly an honor to be here today. I know you know many of my officers, but I just would like, I'm obviously Chief Raymond Hayduka. I've been a police officer for 30 years. I've been here 28 years, and I've been the police chief since 2005, and it's certainly an honor to be your police chief and serve you. This time I'm going to ask each of my officers to introduce themselves so you can put a name with a face.
Sergeant Michael Polino.
Detective Monica Pastorero.
Captain Christopher Giampietro. Detective Brady Shalkowski. Deputy Chief Jim Ryan. Lieutenant Jeff Rousseau.
Captain Ron Seaman.
Sergeant Tara Drummelin.
Sergeant Reeves. Oh, Lieutenant Reeves is in the back. Once again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak and inviting my officers. We are part of the community. We always feel part of the community here. I just want to talk briefly about our mission statement and some of the partnerships that we have formed. As the doctor eloquently said, we need to have a plan to make the community safer. I'm proud to say that we've been working on this plan for many years. I'll go through the mission statement and I'll just briefly go over the plan. Please just listen to these words. A lot of time you see them around town or on our website, and just understand how we are living by this mission statement. The mission of the South Brunswick Police Department is to provide effective and efficient police services through the partnership with the community to prevent and deter crime, as well reduce the fear of crime, protect property and individuals' rights, and improve traffic safety through education and enforcement. All of those things that I just said, if we can do that, we can ensure the safety of our community in the mosque. That's our mission every single day. And we work on that. So our plan, I'll give you a brief synopsis of it, to make the community safer. I want to first assure you, everyone here, that the township and the police department fully support the Islamic Center. We support everyone in the community. We have a special relationship here. Our mayor and elected officials provide the police department with the very best equipment and the very best training. I know the mayor doesn't like it, but we do sincerely appreciate that. It makes the job a lot easier. When issues do come up, I make contact with officials from the mosque if something comes up worldwide. Arif gets me 7 days a week. I pride myself on being a 7-day-a-week chief. I'm here for my officers are here. Not only you can call the desk, but if you email me or someone on my staff, we get back to you. And, as of now, we're obviously heightened awareness. Officers are required to check the mosque and all houses of worship on every shift. Normally, minimum 3 times per shift. So you got 3 shifts. If you ever go back and look at video camera, you will see a police presence. When these horrific events happen worldwide, I don't care if they're in New Zealand, Las Vegas, we increase the frequency. And usually, I think Arif and I, we have the same email feeds. Usually he'll call me and I'll say I'm on it, or sometimes he'll say go to this channel and we'll pick it up quickly and let him know that we have a plan in place. It happens instantaneously. We take all crimes seriously, especially crimes that have to do with bias and hate. All right? We have detectives, they're on call, and then once again, it goes back to the support. I never get questioned about it. Overtime from our elected officials, when I bring people in, we bring all resources in to address any kind of hate crimes, bias crimes, or when there's problems. You'll see us on Saturday, Sunday night. We always have trained investigators on call to deal with these things. These things do not wait until the next day or Monday. We instantly get involved and we address it. We look for suspects, or we look to put the problem to bed. So in closing, I'm a South Brunswick resident. I'm very fortunate to live here, to be part of the community, to see everyone here. It's a great community. I think we just need to keep working together to keep the community safe, keep our awareness going. We have a great partnership with we have a Class 3 officer that's assigned here every day, Monday to Friday, but you do have coverage 24/7. I'm happy to announce that we're working with the nonprofits. Obviously, these things sometimes cost for the off-duty officers. The mayor will be introducing an ordinance to actually lower the cost, to make the availability more throughout the township. Once again, I want to thank you on behalf of this township and the police department for giving us this opportunity. It truly is a pleasure to be here.
Standing ovation, everybody.
I am speaking only to who? Non-Muslim, can you close your ears? Because very dangerous things I'm going to say. On Friday, when I came here 5:30 to open the mosque to offer the early morning prayer, 2 policemen were outside and they arrived before me and they arrived before Channel 12 in New Jersey, they got the news. Give them a big round hand.
police officers in the back, I believe, that are on duty right now. So I'd like to recognize them. Thank you. Okay, so now we would like to continue some of the stories. If I could call up the MUI students and the Boy Scouts.
Say his name, Mujamil Haq. The soon-to-be groom, Haq moved to Christ Church 3 years ago to work in healthcare. His dream was to move back to Bangladesh, open a dental clinic for the poor, and marry his fiancée. Instead, he became one of 51.
Say his name, Hussein al-Omari, 37 years old. He fled war-torn Iraq for New Zealand. He came with his parents and helped take care of them as they aged. He had a contagious personality and was an ideal fit for the tourism industry. He was always at the Christchurch Mosque on Friday because he looked forward to meeting and seeing his community and loved ones. His elderly mother never thought she'd survive him. One of 51.
Say his name, Ada al-Ayan. He loved his country. He represented New Zealand as a goalie for the World Cup qualifying team. He loved his native Palestine too, and inspired youth in both countries. He prayed before each match, just as he did on his final day in Christchurch Mosque, one of 51.
Say his name, Sohail Shahid, a native of Pakistan. He loved his wife and kids more than anything. His wife called him my best friend. He worked hard to become a successful engineer. He was smart, driven, most importantly, a family man, one of 51.
Say his name, Tariq Amar. He was known for his humility. He excelled in sports and was intellectually curious. He loved the outdoors. He was a favorite among his classmates and took great pride in being both Muslim and a New Zealander. His mother dropped him off on Friday and pulled around back to find a car parked until she heard the first round. She waited for her son to come out. He never did. One of 51.
Say their names, Arif and Ramiz. Arif was so happy to visit his son Ramiz in New Zealand. Arif and his wife left India as soon as they knew Ramiz was having a baby girl. Arif and Ramiz prayed together on Friday, and minutes later, left the earth together. They leave behind 2 wives, 2 mothers, and a baby girl that won't have a father and grandfather. 2 of 51.
Say their names, Karam Bibi, Ghulam Hussain, Zishan Raza, mother, husband, and son, a family. Karam and Ghulam were visiting their son from Karachi, Pakistan. The family all went together to pray, and they all left the world together on the same day, 3 of 51.
Say his name, Jose Qadir, 24 years old. Qadir was a student pilot in New Zealand. He lived in Christchurch for about a year and had dreams of being a commercial pilot, flying himself back home to India. He was so close to reaching that dream. 1 of 51.
Say their names, Ma'in Naeem and his son Talha. Naeem lunged at the terrorists with his bare arms and bought time to allow others to run out and live. Wife of Naeem and mother of Talha said, "My husband and son gave up their lives to save other people." And this is what love is for us. It's religion of peace and love. She lost 2 of 51.
Thank you. Okay, so now I would like to call up the imams just to stand up in front, Imam Sohaib and Imam Shibli. 3 students from Princeton High School would like to present cards and flowers as a gesture to the respective local Muslim communities and mosques. And they would like to present those to you, Talia Feaster, Ella Norman, and May Coatsman.
This is the first time in my life I get to wrap up the flower. Publicly, I'm not going to take it home, but I'm going to give it to 2 House of God in South Brunswick. One will go to the head of the South of Brunswick Clergy Association Interfaith, Sister Gladly Desire. Beth, can you come take it to your church on my behalf? Give her a big hand, please. And the second one will go to the only synagogue, is not located in South Brunswick, sorry. That synagogue located in Finnegan Lane. It's not in South Brunswick, North Brunswick, but why we accepted him, I don't know. Bruce, can you come take this? And finally, this will be divided between Khadija and Amina.
Assalamu alaikum. I just want to really thank these young women for their care, their compassion, their really kind gesture. And these flowers are for all of us. These flowers represent hope in the midst of great tragedy.
I'd now like to call up Arif Uncle.
Thank you, Uncle.
Assalamu alaikum. You know what they say, kids nowadays don't listen. Is that true or not?
No.
I want to cite 2 examples of Amina and Khadija. I asked them 3 times, don't put me in the program. Don't put me in the program. Don't put me in the program. And what did they do? Takbir. May Allah preserve and protect Amina and Khadija and all the outstanding young men and women of this community. These are just 2 of so many in this community. I assure you of that. This is just a small sample. And, you know, it's just really amazing, and that's what motivates me to get up and continue to volunteer for the community and all of us here that are here today. Alhamdulillah. So, I didn't prepare anything because I really didn't think I was going to be speaking, because I didn't want to speak. But with that being said, there's a couple things I do want to mention. Obviously, a lot of gratitude, a lot of words aren't coming to me right now, but I do want to point out, particularly our law enforcement, Chief Educa, the state troopers, the Attorney General's office, and so many that we've worked with, not just this past week, but for the past several years. As Chief Educa said, he wasn't exaggerating. When this happened, I contacted him right away, 11 o'clock at night, got an answer back right away. And if you saw the South Brunswick Twitter feed, it was 1 o'clock in the morning they put that out. Words can be so powerful. 1 word, 2 words, 3 words. A few days later, they put out another tweet that most of you have seen, right? About how they, took one of the kids from New Orleans, gave them some food or some candy, and how mean, and that image was so powerful. And the wording, right? They could have used any other wording. The chief and his team could have used other words, but he said, "Our mosque." By the way, from a social media standpoint, that second Twitter post that we put up, from a Facebook standpoint, we've hit 10,000 views. That's incredible. That's the second most viewed one after Imam Shibli being at Congress. Alhamdulillah. A couple other things I do want to mention, and then we'll continue with the program here, is I think Scott Fetter said this, and I agree for myself, not for you, Scott, that I'm not eloquent at all. I shouldn't be up here speaking. But one thing that comes to mind over the years that I've heard many people say this and talk about tolerance. We need to have tolerance. We need to have tolerance for each other. I actually challenge each of us. Tolerance in this context is a bad word. Stop using the word tolerant. Do I tolerate my mom? Do I tolerate my dad? Do I tolerate my kids? I love my kids. I love my parents. Let's remove the word tolerate. We have to go beyond that. We have to elevate ourselves. Can we do this? I challenge each and every single one of us in this room. Can we do this? Yes. Inshallah. With that, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. It's circumstances like today where I get many mixed emotions, and I'm sure you can agree. I love not only to see my community, but other communities coming together and supporting each other. But then I also get this uneasy feeling of fear, the fear of the unknown. I don't know what the victims' families are going through or what that pain must feel like. I don't know what the future holds for Muslims in America. I don't know if my mosque is a safe place of worship, where I have my strongest connection to God, is safe anymore. I don't know when these mass shootings will stop. I don't know when Islamophobia will stop. I don't know when people will start understanding that Islam doesn't teach any act of violence. But what I do know is that my religion teaches peace, not only within my community, but to all I come across. I know that many of my brothers and sisters are scared about coming to the masjid. I know that this is not the last shooting I will hear about. And I know that I'm not alone. And I know that this outcome tonight has truly given me hope for the future for all of us. Thank you.
Start our interfaith panel soon. I'm just going to end off with a really quick spoken word. We are not broken. We have gathered to become more whole. When you tried to create fear, you created more courage and made heroes out of us. We are not slain or fallen. We are alive and we have risen. Our unity elevates. Our remembrance elevates. My Naeem, Linda Armstrong, Mustad Ibrahim elevated. Don't you see? If you kill us while we're faithful, we'll die faithful. We're still faithful. You close your doors on us, and we'll open ours wider. You lock your doors tighter, we'll open ours wider. You shut all doors on us until we are welcome no more, and we'll open ours until all hinges fold, and we'll open arms until they extend no more. Maybe, if we're wider, you'll see us through the cracks of your closed doors. You will see us. Thank you.